Ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to rumble!
Hold it, you're not that pretty. Come on, man. I still got the wall.
I bear witness, there's only one God, Allah, and Muhammad is his final messenger. That's what I said, Larry, on the bungle fight. Thanking you.
They call me the problem, but you could call me the can man, because anybody can get it. Africans, Americans, Dominicans, Mexicans, anybody can get it.
How y'all doing, ladies and gentlemen? Pieces and blessings upon all my AKHis and all my sisters out there. Welcome to Boxing Hood episode 3. And shout out to every single one of my AKHis in the chat. I just want to announce that we first going to do the show, and then later on, if we beat all the topics, then I'm going to have the call in. I'm going to set up the press conference call, and I'm going to need all my AKHis that want to call in to go ahead and make a call. Now, if there's a decaf and there's somebody that actually want to debate, like I tell all my AKHis every single time, I got to put y'all on hold, and these decafs going to get a VIP pass because I got to expose them one time. So with that being stated, shout out to everybody in the chat. Philly 508, Monster, that's my man right there. And everybody in the chat. So with that being stated, subscribe below and click on the notification bell to get notified every time I post or go live on Split Decision. That's a boxing debate / talk show. This one right here is the AKHi Boxing Hood. AKHi stand for my brother. To my right is my actual brother.
Yeah, this is Shahab, back in episode 3. Excited to see what's going on this week.
You already know. So we're going to cook them up today. And like I said, this is the Brotherhood of Boxing. AKHi stand for my brother. So if you're an AKHi of mine, you got to subscribe and click on the notification bell. And if you're a decaf, just call in. If you dream about putting an L on my record, you better wake up and apologize on Boxing Hood Live. So with that being stated, let's go ahead and dive in straight to it.
Ladies and gentlemen,
let's start rolling.
Let's get ready to rumble!
Sir, let's go.
Okay, round 1. Danny Garcia mentioned that last August, Mikey Garcia turned down a fight. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I heard about that. I actually reported on it because they were supposed to fight last year. Danny Garcia came out stating that I will knock out Mikey Garcia after Errol Spence beat up Mikey Garcia from pillar to post. So Danny took a stand that he want to kind of compete with Errol Spence's performance. He was saying that he wasn't too impressed with Errol. And then Mikey was actually interested in the fight. And we already know Puerto Ricans versus Mexicans is one of the biggest fights, and stylistically, I believe that fight would have been just fireworks because, Mikey is a counterpuncher. Danny's also a counterpuncher. They both smart in the ring. They both have power. But they don't have like the best defense in the world. Danny have more hand speed, but Mikey possibly. I mean, they both have great timing. So stylistically, the fight would have been great. I was wondering what happened, because like I said, there was rumors that the fight was going to be on pay-per-view, that the fight it was nearly made, blah, 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 blah. Now, come to find out, according to Danny, Mikey walked out of the negotiations and looked elsewhere. Now, he did fight Jesse Vargas. That was obviously an easier fight because Danny Garcia, he way more dangerous than a Jesse Vargas. I could guarantee you this. Even though Mikey carried his power to 147, and you could see it against Jesse Vargas, he would not have dropped Danny Garcia. One thing for sure, Danny got chin, So seeing that, I mean, it don't surprise me to hear that Mikey turned down a fight because Mikey, he campaigns at 147 right now, and he's been calling out everybody, claiming that he wants the smoke with Porter, Terrence Crawford, Errol Spence rematch, Manny Pacquiao, but I think that's all smoke and mirrors. I think at this point, he's looking to pick and choose, and he wants the Manny Pacquiao fight. The reason why, Mikey Garcia is still at 147, he wants a title to make history, to be one of the Mexican greats that won 5 different titles in 5 different weight divisions. How to do that? You're not going to beat Errol Spence. I mean, we already saw he beat him from pillar to post, and that was unmotivated Errol Spence, or I won't say unmotivated, but unfocused. He was gaining a lot of pounds before the fights and all that. So he actually lucky he made it to the 12th round. Errol Spence didn't kind of press for the KO. He was just like, you know what, I'm gonna go Mexican style on him after he went Ali style the first 4 rounds. But in the welterweight division is the deepest division in boxing. So there is no such thing as, oh, okay, I'm going to go ahead and cherry pick me a title. You're not going to be able to do that because you got Terrence Crawford, hell of a champion, Errol Spence. Ain't no way Mikey going to beat either one of these guys. These guys are like the kryptonites for Mikey because Mikey missing speed, and these guys have speed, power, timing, smart, genius in the ring. They play chess, not checkers. So Manny Pacquiao could be an option because Manny Pacquiao doesn't have an opponent. And from what I heard, that's actually a topic later on. Manny versus Mikey could possibly be next. But at the end of the day, like I said, the welterweight division is just too deep for Mikey to try to swim in, And Danny Garcia is not even a champion. And he turned down a fight with Danny Garcia. That let me know that.
So you don't think he believe he can win?
I think he just felt like it's too risky that, okay, I'm going to go ahead and till I get the Manny Pacquiao fight, I'm not going to
gamble. Then you can risk another loss.
Yeah, because if he loses right now, back-to-back losses like that, especially if he would have lost to Danny Garcia right after the Errol Spence fight, I mean, he would have been canceled from the welterweight division. They would have told him, man, sit yourself back to 140. So I think he's looking at it from that perspective, but I know for a fact that he realized, man, these welterweight guys, they just on a whole nother scale when it comes to speed, power, and they're just too big for him, but also too good for him because, let's call it what it is. Mikey is one of the best fighters. He was one of the best pound for pound fighters. He was trying to chase Lomachenko down. Lomachenko didn't give him the opportunity, so he looked to Errol. But like I said, at this point, he got really not much to lose. So if he can't get the Manny Pacquiao fight, then he missed out on a great opportunity because Danny Garcia, even though that's a 50-50 fight, Mikey, stylistically, that fight favors him better than a Sean Porter, for example, better than a Terrence Crawford, for another example. So he would have been better off fighting a guy like Danny Garcia than a Sean Porter because I think Sean Porter is like
aggressiveness.
Man, that he gonna feel like it's like imagine Mikey Garcia. He's a basketball player, and then they take him to play football. He's not going to be able to compete with Sean Porter because Sean, if you're talking about Mexican style, Sean Porter is Mexican style. If we call it what it is, because Mike Tyson was the best Mexican style. If they want to label a certain style being a bull,
just forward. kind of boxing.
Yeah, so Mike Tyson was one of the best, and Sean Porter right now at the welterweight division, he's like a bull, but he's also a matador. He could do either or. And against Mikey is not going to be able to keep Sean Porter off. So that stylistically is horrible. Terrence Crawford stylistically is horrible. I heard he beat him like 4 to 5 times in the amateurs. You know what I mean? That's like I said, boxing styles make fights, and I feel like Mikey versus Danny Garcia was a 50-50 fight because they both have great timing, they both have great chin, they both have decent power. They both not the fastest in the world. Mikey has better footwork, when it comes to quickness on his feet. But like I said, at the end of the day, it's a 50-50 fight. Danny possibly would have been a little bit more favored against Mikey at this point. But like I said, it don't surprise me. However, Mikey kept calling out all these fighters. He stayed mentioning their names, claiming that he wants to smoke with all the welterweights. But I just think right now he's just being strategic, trying to capture the moment and land the Manny Pacquiao, jackpot. If he could hit the lotto with Manny Pacquiao, then he gonna cash out. And if he wins, he might entertain another fight. If not, he moving back down. So, like I said, it don't surprise me at all that he actually, turned down a fight with Danny Garcia. Now, he said otherwise, but I'm gonna take Danny Garcia's word for it because I don't think he would lie. And I think Danny really wanted to fight Mikey. I think he was looking to fight Mikey stylistically, and he was the smaller guy, so he felt like, man, you know what? I got something to prove in this fight. Plus, Errol Spence just fought him, so it's like a good way to compare because he was looking to fight Errol Spence down the line. He did not want to fight Errol Spence at the moment. At the time when
who's that? Danny.
Yeah, he did. I mean, nobody really wanted to fight Errol Spence on the come up, and when he was a champion, he was calling out all the guys.
That's the reason maybe Mikey was like, okay, he can afford that loss because nobody would
he was the
hold
boogeyman
it against him. If he loses against
Mikey, gave everybody courage at the welterweight division because Keith Thurman was talking about I'm cool with being the second best. Danny Garcia was claiming that I'm not worried about Errol Spence. And then even Keith Thurman, Sean Porter, like I said, even Sean Porter fought him, right? But Sean himself, he was like, I'm not thinking about Errol Spence right now. When he was a whole champion and Sean wasn't the champion, and Errol Spence was calling out the non-champion Sean Porter. So when Mikey fought Errol Spence, that gave all the welterweight courage. Like, man, hey, we're gonna let a lightweight or 140-pounder come to our division and challenge Errol Spence, and we all kind of like on the same press conference when the PBC hosted the Fox press conference for the first time, announcing the big news of the Errol Spence versus Mikey, and everybody was there from all the champions, right? And Errol was kind of punking everybody. Yeah. So they felt like, yo, we got to do something. You know what I'm saying? So I felt like Mikey gave everybody courage, to be honest with you, but he did because he knew he got nothing to lose. You know what I mean? Yeah. So now he do have something to lose, though, if he stays at the welterweight division, because now he know better. So, it is what it is. So shout out to everybody in the chat. What up, Key? Like I said, I'm going to have the call in a few. Bad boy number 1 said Errol becomes undisputed. That's the goal. That's the goal at the end of the day. So to all my keys in the chat, if you have a question, because we are doing the show live, and like I said, me and my brother, we mix, master, engineer, produce Boxing Hood. So if y'all do have a question and we don't take notice, just throw in a super chat. That's the one way you could you guaranteed for us to respond, and it also help grow the channel. So I appreciate everybody in the comment section. So my man said Errol will clear division, then his bro Charlo got a share at 154. So yeah, I mean, once Errol Spence moves up to 154, I think he's going to be a better fighter at 154 and more comfortable. And Charlo is going to have to move up to 160 because, he got to move on to the next best thing, So let me go ahead. Hold on. Let me just share something real quick. All right.
Okay, round 2. Crawford is looking for his next opponent. He offered Kell Brook $1.5 million. Is that a good offer? Should Brook take it?
Yeah, that's
If
a
you're
good
in Brook
offer.
position.
I mean, he didn't ask 10 million. So, I mean, you know, so if they sent him 1.5 million, Kell Brook doesn't have anything lined up. I know Amir Khan fight is huge in the UK, but Amir Khan ain't looking to fight him. And Kell Brook, like I said, he don't have anything lined up. He haven't fought a name opponent in 3 years. He only had 3 fights in 3 years against nobody. So $1.5 million is a lot of money, man. And they should take it. Because, see, Lomachenko, he's fighting Lopez, and Lopez was offered 1.25 million. He was kind of complaining about the pay, like, hey, I'm supposed to get more money. And they offering Kell Brook 1.5 million. And you got to keep in mind, Kell Brook is really a guy that doesn't have a belt, and Lopez actually have a belt. So
speaking of Lopez, there was reports that Crawford was in negotiation with Lopez.
Are you talking about Lopez at 147? Yeah. Jesse Lopez, I think that's his name. But yeah, I heard he turned down the offer because he had other plans. I'm not sure why Lopez turned down the offer, but that's what I'm saying. We talked about last show about Terrence Crawford and the Keith Thurman situation. And I said the issue with what Bomac had to say, and the reason why Terrence Crawford, I'm pretty sure he's going to get criticized for trying to fight Kell Brook and Lopez, like you stated. The reason why, they both non-champions. So Bomac stated that they're not interested in Keith Thurman and Sean Porter and whoever because they're not champions. Crawford is only interested in champions. So I told you last show, does that mean Crawford is going to sit on the shelf and wait for Manny Pacquiao and Errol Spence? Because Errol Spence he stay active. Manny Pacquiao most likely about to fight Mikey Garcia next. So Bob Arum keep talking about, that we were negotiating with Manny Pacquiao and the fight was realistic, blah, 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 blah. And I told everybody that would listen, that's a bunch of bullcrap. Because if Bob Arum did not make the Manny Pacquiao versus Crawford fight when Manny Pacquiao was still with Top Rank, how is he going to make it now? And why will Manny Pacquiao be interested in Crawford 5 years later? So it don't make any sense to me. If Pacquiao is going to fight Crawford, might well fight Errol Spence. So that's too much of a dangerous fight. And I know Manny Pacquiao is not looking to take that type of risk at this age. Keith Thurman was a calculated risk because Keith Thurman
was still coming back.
Lopez, the guy you talked about, nearly knocked him out in the 7th round, right? Yeah. So Pacquiao saw that and was like, man, I could take advantage of this dude because, he going to sleep on me and I'm going to shock him. You know what I mean? Because Pacquiao is, even at 40, he's better than Lopez in his prime, right? So my point is, Bomac made the reasoning of not being interested in Keith Thurman and whoever because they non-champions. But now they ended up firing back at him and Crawford because people looking at Crawford like, oh, Kell Brook ain't a champion. Lopez, you just named, is not a champion. That's why I told you they either have to address that comment and say, well, I didn't really mean that. I just meant, Keith Thurman asked too much money. He wanted 10 million. If you're going to take the fight for 1.5 million, then, we're going to offer you that type of money. Then it would have made sense. You know what I'm saying? But like I said, Bomac went the direction of talking, crap. But you got to condone yourself in a professional manner, like I told you last time, because Crawford is on the coincidental list. He damn if he do, damn if he don't. He could say all the right things and do all the right things, and he going to still get criticized, let alone do the right things and say the wrong things. So now that's pretty much what happened. So now looking back at hindsight, Crawford, he's going to be in a very tight position because fighting Kell Brook, if we all being honest, if Kell Brook does take the fight for 1.5 million, which I think he should, because I know he got paid $5 million to fight Gennady Golovkin, but that's because he was undefeated. He had to move up 2 weight divisions. blah, 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 blah. And it was also on pay-per-view in the UK. There was a crowd. Now it's a pandemic.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of money on the table. There's no fans. It's going to be in a fanless arena. So all that come into play. So 1.5 million is good money. If Kell Brook take the fight or takes the offer of 1.5 million, that let me know he really want to fight. He not trying to fight Crawford because he think, okay, I'm going to get a last paycheck. That let me know that Kell Brook is for real. But on the downside to that, Kell Brook, he lost to Errol Spence, but he blamed the loss on the weight. See, there's nothing wrong to lose to Errol Spence. Errol Spence, the truth. Errol Spence, possibly the next pound for pound #1, and we about to find that out soon because in a year or two he gonna fight Crawford, and we're gonna have the pound for pound #1. So losing to Errol Spence is really not a big deal. Losing to Gennady Golovkin, moving up 2 weight divisions, is really not a big deal. Them 2 losses aren't really haunting his career at all. The only issue with Kell Brook is right after he lost to Errol Spence, he made the excuse of, I'm not fighting at 154 anymore. I struggle to make the weight. So 3 years later, you still can make the weight. Come on, man. Like, that's what I'm saying. His excuse ended up biting him
later on. Yeah.
Later on, because it reminded me of the Donaire versus Regan Diaz situation. Donaire, Max Kellerman was talking about, Donaire, he like, if he's at 147, he will be favored to beat Mayweather. That's how ridiculous they were hyping at Donaire. And Donaire was a good fighter, don't get me wrong. Yeah. He was pound for pound #3. But they were trying to paint the narrative that this man could beat Mayweather. And he was doing year-round drug testing, and they were trying to give him the credit for the pioneer of drug testing when it was Mayweather. They criticized Mayweather for being the pioneer of drug testing when he wanted to test Manny Pacquiao, but they gave Donaire all the praise for doing year-round testing. Anyways, so Donaire fought Regan Diaz at 122. He lost to Regan Diaz when Regan Diaz was like 9-0, right? And he lost to Regan Diaz in a dominant fashion. I mean, Regan Diaz just dominated Donaire, made him look like a nobody, right? So when Donaire lost, he blamed the loss on what? The weight. He said, I struggle to make the weight. I can no longer make 122. I'm moving to 126. Keep in mind, when he fought Regan Diaz, he was 20 to 25 pounds bigger than Regan Diaz. At 122, that's like a huge advantage. And Regan Diaz still beat him. But they want to use that as an excuse when it was an advantage. However, fast forward a year or two later, he moved up to 126. He fought a tough fighter, and that fight got stopped due to a cut. Then he fought Walters. Walters knocked him out. And Walters, he pretty much was bigger than Donaire. And Donaire faced a fighter for the first time bigger than him. And he realized, man, fighting bigger guys, man, it takes a lot of skill. Donaire had the will. He had the heart. But he realized, man, I got to have skill. My power is not going to cut it. So guess what ended up happening? He moved back down to 122. 3 years later, Donaire. And now he fights and campaigns at 118.
He went even lower.
So it's like, man, they use the excuse of losing to Regan Diaz due to the weight, and now 3-4 years later, man, forget 3 years later, 7-8 years later, Donaire fighting at 118, not even 122. So that's the same situation with Kell Brook. I don't think he really struggled to make where he killed him. I think Errol Spence just beat his body so bad, man. If you go back and watch the fight, Errol, he the terror when it comes to body work. He really break you down. That's why they call him man down. So Errol broke Kell Brook down. And if you watch the fight, he was landing tremendous shots in the inside. He would not let Kell Brook hold. He would, you know what I mean? So he broke Kell Brook, but they didn't give Errol Spence his credit. They threw brownies at him. They want to claim the weight is why Kell Brook lost. Kell Brook got more skill. Well, why he got his ass beat? And I like Kell Brook, but my point is they always want to use the excuse of this weight. Right now, 3 years later, he want to fight Crawford at the same weight, but we don't know how much he have left, because the last 3 guys he fought, they were really nobodies, and he didn't look too spectacular. He claims he did not get up for those guys. That's what, Kell Brook claims.
Mm-hmm.
But, at the end of the day, or at least the night, if you feel like somebody is not, he don't belong in the ring with you, then get him out of there. For example, Gervonta, people talking about he baby Mike, because he don't even get a chance to show his skill, because he's really more of a boxer. But when he fight guys that's not on his level, he get him out of there. So if Kell Brook was fighting guys that wasn't on his level, why he didn't get him out of there? But they want to blame it on the fact that, I was motivated. So like I said, it's not a good look on Kell Brook's behalf. That's why the timing is not good for Crawford to fight Kell Brook. It matters when you fight your opponent. Like I told everybody, I love Gervonta, but when he beat Gamboa, that was in the same Gamboa that Crawford beat.
Yeah.
Right? So when, Crawford fighting Kell Brook, it don't really mean too much. He's still going to get criticized a whole lot. And I'm going to be honest with you, you really can't justify it much, because, yes, Kell Brook beat Porter. Kell Brook beat Porter, right? So people want Crawford to fight Porter. Now, Crawford was trying to fight the man that beat Porter. However, Porter improved with time. Kell Brook, I don't know what happened to him. He broke, his eye socket. Errol Spence broke his eye socket. And then, I guess he's not as mentally strong as Porter. Porter let his, Porter moves like, oh, okay, it's just a minor setback for a major comeback for me. He takes a loss just like that and move back and move on. Mm-hmm. Kell Brook took the losses like, man, they pretty much, he focuses too much on being undefeated, and I feel like that hurt his ego, and they always try to make excuses for him. So they didn't let him improve how he should have and facing reality that Errol was just the better man. So like I said, now Crawford fighting Kell Brook is really not a good look on Crawford's behalf, because if Crawford and Bomac didn't say anything on, I only want champions, then it's okay. Yeah. Because you can't get Errol Spence. That's a fact. You cannot get Errol Spence right now. You can't get Manny Pacquiao right now. So what does that mean? You're not going to sell on the shelf. So
you're going to have to fight somebody.
Yeah, but for Bomac to say, when Bomac got asked about Keith Thurman, for him to say, I don't want to go through the hassle to find sparring partners, but now you're going to go through the hassle to find sparring partners for Lopez and Kell Brook. So like I said, you got to be careful with what you say, because what you say is going to come back and haunt you. And I don't think Crawford is really avoiding any of these guys. I just feel like, it's just business. It's a pandemic. Keith Thurman asking for too much, and Sean Porter is probably asking for too much. But the way I took it when it comes to the Sean Porter, because now he's coming off a win, and Sean Porter calling out Crawford, the way I took it is that he basically, because Crawford revealed that he had a conversation with Porter already, right? Mm-hmm. He revealed that he already talked to Porter. And Porter revealed that the conversation went like, oh, I don't want to fight you right now. The timing is not right. I got other plans. That's what Crawford told Sean Porter.
Yeah.
The reason why he said that, he knows Sean Porter is a dog. He knows Sean Porter is a risky fight. So he like, let me secure the fights that I want before I... Oh, damn. Oh, yeah, it's okay. I thought the camera went off. So he's trying to secure the Errol Spence and the big mega fights before fight Sean Porter. I think down the line he will eventually fight Sean Porter. I just think he thinks that the timing is not right. And it's okay.
He probably can get Sean Porter when it...
He felt like he could fight Sean Porter anytime. And Sean Porter already lost to Keith Thurman. He already lost to Kell Brook. He already lost to Errol Spence.
Mm-hmm.
So he has multiple losses, and he felt like I could fight Sean Porter any given day of the week, because he will fight anybody. Sean Porter has one of the deepest resumes in boxing.
Yeah.
So he like, that's not a fight where I have to worry about timing. But the timing now is Errol Spence and Manny Pacquiao. But don't talk about you know, I don't want to find sparring partners and all that. I think it's just all
He contradict himself.
yeah. It's just I think Bomac just said the wrong thing. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And you ended up hurting Crawford because he the one receiving all the backlash. Because remember when they asked Crawford, who you think gonna win, Errol Spence or Sean Porter? When Errol Spence was fighting Sean Porter, he responded by stating, "I favor, I want Errol Spence to win because I want to fight Errol Spence." Sean Porter, my friend.
Crawford said that.
Yeah, he said if Sean Porter wins, you know, he's not too interested in fighting Sean Porter. He'd rather fight Errol Spence. He was rooting for Sean Porter because that's his friend, but he wanted Errol Spence to win so he could fight Errol
for legacy.
So that lets you know where his mind at. He not really avoiding any of these guys. It's just like I said, you got to be careful with what you say because they're gonna hold you accountable.
Yeah.
And you already on the coincidental list. Whatever you say will be held against you. So, you know. What up to everybody in the chat? He landed more punches. I think watchers, he said he landed more punches and controlled the fight. Kell was holding and clinching to the point of too much. Yeah, during the fight, you know, Kell Brook held like 80 times.
Against who?
Against Porter.
Oh, Porter.
But see, that's the thing in the sport of boxing. You have to work with your attributes. And if the referee didn't do nothing about it, then it is what it is. But see, Kell Brook tried to hold Errol. However, when the fighter try to hold you, you push him off. Like you could push him off. You could, you know, like how you squat, but push somebody off as well. So they can't hold your back.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And that's the impressive thing about Errol, that he did not let Kell Brook hold him. He outboxed Kell Brook. He pretty much beat Kell Brook in every field. You know what I mean? So like I said, that's the unique thing about Errol Spence, that he could beat you at your own game and he could nullify your best weapon. And even if you resort to outside tactics such as holding, so on and so forth, he got something for everything. Mm-hmm. Even when he fought Sean Porter, remember, Sean, he's known for being a dirty fighter, right? That's what Errol told him to his face. And when Sean will throw a hook and then hold Errol Spence down is a veteran tactic, so you control your opponent. Plus, you kind of control him and he won't be able to hit you back. What Errol will do, he will throw a body shot. Now, if I'm holding you down and you throw a body shot, you will end up hitting my nuts because it's going to end up being low.
Yeah. And
that's why the referee couldn't say nothing to Errol. And people were like, oh, why the referee ain't saying anything? Why Errol's fighting dirty? Errol is not really fighting dirty. Errol's fighting smart. He just threw a body shot.
Yeah.
But Sean Porter, he happened to held him down and he got hit low. So it's kind of like I'm just showing you the veteran tactics of Errol. That's why I told people before everybody, you know what I'm saying, jump ships and all that. I told everybody, Errol, the truth, Errol, the future of boxing. He the future pound for pound number one, possibly. And I favor him to beat Crawford. Now, Crawford is a bad man, but now, like I said, he getting criticized a lot because he really need a name to save face at the welterweight division, because now guys are calling him out. See, at first, nobody was calling him out. Now guys are really calling him out. Sean Porter, Keith Thurman, you know, and like there's few fighters that's calling him out. So Kell Brook is a good name. We just don't know how much of Kell Brook is still there. Like
because
I said,
of the lack of activity.
Yeah, we just don't know. Like, you know what I mean? So that's what's all pretty much to it, you know.
Okay, round 3. We know how great Floyd Mayweather is and Pacquiao. They're level on their own. But Max Kellerman is one of the people that would say Pacquiao has a better legacy than Mayweather because of all the different weight classes he's been on. But also Keith Thurman won on an interview. He mentioned that he rates Pacquiao legacy over Floyd Mayweather's.
Man, like when is Floyd gonna start receiving some love? I mean, when it comes to Max Kellerman, I'm really not going to say much on Kellerman because I already made a video on that and knocked out Kellerman with everything he had to say. Because Kellerman, his main point was, oh, well.
Because where Pacquiao come from, I think he came from such, what was it, bantamweight, featherweight?
Yeah, it don't matter, though, because he started pro early. He was like.
That's Pacquiao.
Yeah, Pacquiao started boxing when he like 16 years old. And in the Philippines, you know, you haven't grew to your man strength. You haven't grown to your, you know, you're still growing as a baby. You know what I'm saying? So when Pacquiao turned pro, he was so young that he was still light. You know what I mean? But either way, Max Kellerman, he talked about the fact that Pacquiao have shorter arms and he's shorter height. That's why he favored Manny Pacquiao over Floyd, because if Pacquiao, if you bulk Pacquiao up and you give him reach and you give him height, then he could beat a Floyd. That's his kind of logic. But that logic is twisted because you could say a thing about Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson, what made Mike Tyson is the fact that he was short for a heavyweight, but he used his disadvantages as his advantages. Every single fighter in the game, you're supposed to use your attributes and make a style for yourself that's gonna make you the best fighter, you know, stylistically for yourself. He's gonna make you the best you. You know what I mean? So that's like saying, oh, Mike Tyson, he the greatest of all time because he has shorter height and shorter reach than all of his opponents. That logic don't make any sense. But that lets you know that that's a decaf talk point. That's a talk point of a person that never boxed in his life, because you're supposed to use your attributes. Mm-hmm. I don't care if it's your disadvantages, whatever, and make them your advantages. So I already knocked out Max Kellerman when it comes to that. But let's focus on what Keith Thurman had to say. Now, Keith Thurman, he basically talked about Ali. He said that Pacquiao reminds him of Ali because Ali said, I'm going to show you how great I am. He wasn't afraid to lose. Now, Ali, 1,000% Ali, the greatest of all time. Ali fought everybody when there was only one strap in the heavyweight division. You know, there's no 4 straps and none of that. So your mandatory is pretty much the second best fighter in the world. You have to fight the top 10. The top 10 is pretty much the best in the game. Now we have 4 belts. We have a lineal champion. Now there's like French fries titles now. There's super titles now. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Ali fought and campaigned in an era where there's only one strap. And Ali, he beat the best around his time, beat the best when he wasn't even in his prime, when he fought George Foreman, Frazier, Norton. He fought all these guys. He ran out of competition. He flew to Cuba. There was this Cuban sensation. I think he got like 3 or 4 gold medals. I'm not sure if he got 4. I think it's possibly 3. And he was just knocking out cats. He was trying to bring him to the pros so he could fight him. That's how much of a bad man Ali was. So you got to be cautious when you compare people to Ali, because you comparing Ali character and how he moves in the ring. Forget outside of the ring. That don't even compare with nobody. But let's talk about in the ring. Ali, the way he fought, the way he always fought the best. He forced the best fights. He was the biggest thing in boxing, the biggest thing in sport. When he was fighting, there was no such thing as football, basketball, soccer. Man, when there's boxing on is Ali. The most popular sport in the world is Ali. It's not even boxing, it's Ali. So Ali made boxing. Ali made boxing popular and all that because he wanted to fight the best. And he didn't say, oh, I'm too popular, I'm not going to fight nobody. So when he used the Ali comparison, that's what I'm going to have to give Keith Thurman the work on some Loaded Lux work. Because his point was, see, Pacquiao moves like Ali because he want to show you how great I am. Like he had the Ali shirt. You know, I don't got the Ali shirt. I got Dragon Ball. And you already know why I got Dragon Ball, because none of the decafs got balls to call in. So y'all can make a wish and wish the Dragon to grant y'all some balls so y'all could call in. But to get back to the point, you got to remember that my man Keith Thurman, I got love for Keith. He was one of my favorite fighters, but Keith was talking about he was going to crucify Pacquiao. I'm going to crucify him. And then when he fought Pacquiao, he got crucified in the first round. Reality hit him. So I don't know. I won't call it envy, but I think Keith Thurman is being petty because Keith Thurman, he didn't want that oath to go out of the window. Yes, he had a saying, if you could beat me, beat me.
Yeah.
But he didn't think Pacquiao was going to beat him.
Especially against Pacquiao.
Man, go back and watch the lead up to the fight. He was telling Pacquiao, I could beat Pacquiao in his prime. Forget this Pacquiao right now. He was talking about he could beat Pacquiao in his prime, right? It's like, all right, well, you know what I mean? You could think that. He thought stylistically he's better than Pacquiao, whatever. So all I'm pretty much saying is you're going to say all of that. And now he lost to a 40-year-old Pacquiao. Now, he can't really say much. Of course he going to side with Pacquiao. I don't think it's sincere. Keith Thurman is Floyd Mayweather's biggest fan. I'll be honest with you. Because he tried to move like Floyd. He tried to talk like Floyd. But one thing for sure, he didn't have that Ali in him like Floyd. Because Floyd got the Ali in him. And I know all the decafs hate it. But I could take you back to Pretty Boy Floyd. Forget Money May. We're going to get to Money May. Let's talk about Pretty Boy Floyd. The Iron Mike stage of Floyd Mayweather. That's 10 years stage of Floyd Mayweather, where he called out the best for 10 years. You could go to YouTube, since everybody believe in Google, you don't got to Google this shit. Just go to YouTube and put Floyd Mayweather calling fighters out. At 130, he called out Prince Nassim Hamed and all these great fighters, right? After knocking out Corrales, one of the best fighters at the time, a pound-for-pound fighter, knocked him out in 9 rounds and knocked him down like 6 times in the fight, whatever. So my point was, he called out Sugar Shane Mosley when Sugar Shane Mosley was undefeated. One of the top pound-for-pound fighters. He called out Prince Nassim Hamed, one of the top pound-for-pound fighters before he lost. He called out all the fighters at 135. He called out all the Cuban best at the time. And the Cubans are the most feared. But that was only one time that I never saw a Cuban, because Cuban fighter, when you call out a Cuban fighter, you knock at his door, he going to answer right away. You don't even got a second guess. But it was only Floyd Mayweather that a Cuban fighter didn't want to smoke with him when he was Pretty Boy at 135. I think his name was Casamayor. I'm not sure. But the name going to come back to me. The point is, Floyd Mayweather even beat a Cuban fighter in the amateurs in the Olympics and got robbed of a gold medal. But the point is, in the pros, you could go back to Floyd Mayweather when he was Pretty Boy. He had a stage of calling out fighters for 10 years. So for Keith Thurman to say the reason why Manny Pacquiao legacy is better than Floyd is because he want to show you how great he is because he want to fight the best. That's some bull crap because Floyd did his whole career, especially the Pretty Boy stage when he was the most feared. Like I said, Oscar De La Hoya was running from him. Sugar Shane Mosley was running from him. He blamed it on his tooth. Come on, man. He didn't even have a better excuse. So they didn't care what kind of excuse was on the table. They just wanted to avoid him. Like I said, he wanted to fight. I think this guy at 140, his name was... What was the guy at 140 that was the champion at the time? And I'm not talking about Cotto. I think is start with a... I gotta hold on. Let me, because he fought Ricky Hatton. I forgot his name. I gotta get this name because this is important.
That was when early on his career.
Yeah, Floyd didn't get a chance to fight him. But hold on, I got it. Costa Zoo. Yeah. So Floyd Mayweather, he called out Costa Zoo, the best at 140. Every division he went to, he called out the best. He didn't fight Costa Zoo because Costa Zoo got knocked out by Ricky Hatton or got beat by Ricky Hatton. However, he ended up fighting Ricky Hatton. So if we compare Floyd with calling out fighters to Keith Thurman calling out fighters, Now, for the people that don't know shit about boxing, Keith Thurman called out Paulie Malignaggi.
Better not duck me, son.
Don't duck me,
Better
son.
not duck me, son.
But that's about the only person you called out. Because if we look at it, other than Pacquiao and Floyd, everybody was gunning for them. So you really can't consider them two guys. So who was Keith Thurman calling out? Paulie Malignaggi?
Mm-hmm.
Man, I could go down the list of the fighters that Floyd Mayweather called out. Right? So we already know the first 10 years of his career, he was on his pretty boy shit. Nobody wanted to smoke. Now, as Money May, when he became Money May, after he moved up 5 weight divisions, cleaned out 3 divisions, and campaigned at 147, his 4th division, for another 10 years as Money May, right? Now, how can you claim that Manny Pacquiao fought the best? Meanwhile, Manny was fighting Floyd Mayweather leftovers.
Mm-hmm.
Floyd Mayweather beat Oscar De La Hoya. Then Pacquiao fights Oscar De La Hoya. Floyd Mayweather beats Ricky Hatton when Ricky Hatton is undefeated. Then Pacquiao fights Ricky Hatton. Floyd Mayweather beats Sugar Shane Mosley after Sugar Shane Mosley knocked out Margarito in an impressive fashion. Then Manny Pacquiao fights Sugar Shane Mosley. But peep this, he turned down a fight with Sugar Shane Mosley the moment he knocked out Margarito. And according to his trainer, he told Sugar Shane Mosley that you're not Oscar De La Hoya. So if we're going to fight you, we're going to fight you at a catchweight. And Sugar Shane Mosley said, absolutely not. I'm not going to fight at a catchweight. So Pacquiao was pretty much the catchweight king, if we call a spade a spade.
Mm.
So all I'm pretty much saying is, how can you claim that Manny Pacquiao fought the best when Manny Pacquiao was fighting Floyd Mayweather leftovers? When Floyd Mayweather was fighting fighters coming off their biggest win, Ortiz after he beat undefeated Berto, Cotto after he beat Margarito in a rematch. Meanwhile, if you look at Pacquiao when he fought Cotto, he fought him after he came off a tough fight with Clottey.
Mm-hmm.
So my point is, Manny Pacquiao, every time he fought tough competition, either it was at a catchweight or they were coming off a bad performance. Even Margarito, he fought Margarito after Margarito got knocked out by Sugar Shane Mosley at a catchweight at 150 for a title at 154. When Margarito just came off a knockout loss. So all I'm saying is, if you peep history and you look at the facts, Floyd Mayweather and Pacquiao don't compare. And on top of all of that, they fought each other and Floyd Mayweather beat Pacquiao. So why did they fight to begin with if we still going to claim Pacquiao is better than Floyd?
It's obvious he's trolling just to make him, not trolling, but to make himself look better after the loss.
The loss, yeah. That's what I'm saying. Because, see, Floyd Mayweather beat Pacquiao 5 years before Keith Thurman lost to Pacquiao. Keith Thurman got beat up by a 40-year-old Pacquiao. 5 years prior to that, Floyd Mayweather beat Manny Pacquiao. Mm-hmm. And you can't use that age excuse because we already know Floyd Mayweather was the older out of the two. So if Floyd Mayweather is older, then how can you use the age excuse? And to make matter worse, Manny Pacquiao still kicking ass until this day. So you cannot say Pacquiao is back better than ever when he Keith Thurman. 5 years ago, when he fought Floyd, Pacquiao is old. He's no longer the same. You get what I'm saying? The double standards. And if you want to claim, well, they didn't fight in their prime in 2009. Well, why is that? So the question, again, I'm gonna ask the question to all the fans and the people in the chat. To all the decafs and to all the boxing fans, period. Floyd Mayweather sent Manny Pacquiao a 50-50 split. It was Manny Pacquiao who turned down the fight in 2009 because of a needle. So I'm going to break it down to where a second grader could figure this out. So Manny Pacquiao turned down the fight because he didn't want to take VADA testing. He either was on steroids or he ducked Floyd Mayweather. So what is the answer? Is Manny Pacquiao on steroid or he avoided Floyd Mayweather? Why did he turn down the fight in 2009? What do you believe? Do you think he ducked Floyd Mayweather, or he was on steroid? That's why he turned down the drug test.
Based off what I remember, the way the media made it, it was mainly all Mayweather doesn't want to fight Pacquiao. They were making excuses.
I know they always trying to paint the narrative of Floyd Mayweather ducking, but I'm telling you right now, right?
I always believed that Mayweather would beat anybody. I couldn't find nobody, especially after like seeing him against Marquez and all these fights. There's nobody that I can't see Mayweather lose. Yeah. Just because nobody have made it.
But I'm saying I get it. I ain't talking about you. I'm talking about, so why you think Manny Pacquiao turned down the fight? Do you think it's because he didn't want to take the drug test because he was on steroids? Or do you think
he don't
think he could beat Floyd? It could be both.
It could be both. We don't know. But that's the thing.
So all I'm saying is, how can the decaf say, and how can even Keith Thurman say, as intelligent as he is, I'm pretty sure he a boxing historian, how can he claim Pacquiao fought the best when he ducked Floyd Mayweather? So when he fought Floyd Mayweather leftovers, when Floyd Mayweather beat fighters in better fashion, when Floyd Mayweather dominated the game and paved the way and showed Pacquiao the way.
I guess a lot of people would, they like the aggressive style and that's boxing. That's because of entertainment. They would call Mayweather boring and the way, but that's not true. Boxing.
That's just double standards. See, when Anthony Joshua, all the UK fans, right? When Floyd Mayweather beat Ricky Hatton, they claim, oh, Floyd Mayweather run too much. And then Anthony Joshua fights Ruiz in a rematch and he moves around. Then all of a sudden they want to claim, oh man, Anthony Joshua, this is the sweet science. So when it suits them, they want it's okay to move. But when a guy like Floyd Mayweather utilizes it to his advantage, then Floyd Mayweather running, right?
They want to see him lose.
But see, this is how hypocritical it is, because you could knock it out in so many different ways, right? So Ali moves more than Floyd. So does Keith Thurman believe that Ali's not the greatest because he moves? He don't fight like Mike Tyson. I know everybody know Ali's greater than Mike Tyson. So why don't people say, oh, well, Mike Tyson, he fight like a bull. He aggressive fighter. Why everybody claim Ali the greatest when Ali moves more than any fighter? He float like a butterfly and sting like a bee. He dances. He don't even move. He dances. So why people don't say Ali run? But again, it's all double standards.
They want to see that. It's just all in sports. All sports are like that. They want to see somebody. When somebody's undefeated, they see Floyd Mayweather with the money, with the bragging, and the record is perfect. Now they want to see they'll trash talk him until he loses. Then they're gonna back off.
That's what I'm saying. So that again, that's the issue in the sport of boxing. They don't want to give credit where credit is due when it comes to fighters on the coincidental list. Not when it comes to other fighters on the hope list, on the coincidental list only. Because like I said, you brought up, the entertainment thing. And it's funny because I had a conversation with Jules of Life, one of my AKHis. Shout out to RJ in the comment section. Jules of Life, he called in. He said the reason why he'd rather have a Pacquiao career because Pacquiao was more entertaining and he had more knockouts than Floyd. He had 38 knockouts. Floyd Mayweather had 25 knockouts.
Who would rather
Jules of Life, he'd rather be Pacquiao. So I asked him a simple question. You say, Pacquiao has more knockouts. That's why you believe he's better than Floyd. But Pacquiao had more fights than Floyd Mayweather. Pacquiao have more than 70 fights. Floyd Mayweather have 50 fights. Do you know that their knockout percentage is the same? They both have 54 knockout percentage.
You don't think about that when you look at it.
You know what I mean? So I told him that. I told him they both have the same knockout percentage. So knockouts can't be the reason why you don't like Floyd Mayweather, because they both have the same knockout percentage. Floyd Mayweather, truth be told, when he fought Canelo Alvarez, who was like, how many pounds bigger than him? I believe like 20 pounds, 15 to 20 pounds bigger than him. Floyd Mayweather, 5th weight division, Canelo bully weight division. Floyd Mayweather backed Canelo up. Floyd Mayweather was making Canelo miss 6-8 punches in the pocket, right? And he will come back and counter Canelo in the pocket. Meanwhile, Canelo fought Lara, and that was a natural 154-pounder. Lara moved all night. He still beat Canelo Alvarez, but that he did use the ring. Floyd didn't really use the ring like that. Floyd Mayweather fighters mid-range in the pocket. Look at how he fought Sugar Shane Mosley. Floyd Mayweather fought Sugar Shane Mosley in the pocket. Floyd Mayweather fought Marquez in the pocket. Floyd Mayweather fought Manny Pacquiao most of the night in the pocket. I mean, when Floyd Mayweather fought Manny Pacquiao, I remember a scene when Floyd Mayweather was in the corner, right? And Floyd Mayweather, he got back to a corner, right? And Pacquiao had Floyd Mayweather in the corner. Mind you, that when you're in the corner, that's the most dangerous place you could be in, because you can't escape either way. So if Floyd Mayweather is running, right, and he finally in the corner and Pacquiao coming at him, tell me why Pacquiao backed off.
He couldn't.
If you got somebody in the corner, man, and you back
Speaking
off.
of that fight, how what do you believe? Because as soon as the fight was over, he's talking about his shoulder injury.
Because he couldn't find nothing to hit. He was missing all night. I bet he broke his shoulder. It's an excuse. Like I told you earlier, Kell Brook blamed losing on the weight. Donaire blamed losing on the weight. Boxing,
and Mayweather called it out already.
Boxing is prideful. Basketball, you watch basketball, you could lose the game and be like, man, if you would have passed me the ball, we could have won the game.
It's
but
more
boxing,
team-oriented.
Man, boxing, they waited for you to lose. Hey, what's up, man? What's up? Where was the green print to beat Floyd Mayweather? Manny Pacquiao knew he about to be on the spot. That's why he was like, I think I won the fight. And Max Kellerman, like, he thought Max Kellerman was gonna take his side like he did for Bradley. Max Kellerman was like, I don't know what you're talking about, because you did not beat him. You was missing all night. You was hitting air. We thought Pacquiao was fighting the air all night.
Speaking of that fight, people do believe. That's why I'm saying in terms of entertainment and aggressiveness, Holyfield, I think, came out after that fight saying he believes Pacquiao won the fight because of the aggressive.
Man, Holyfield don't know what the heck he's talking about. I like Holyfield, but Holyfield talking out of pocket. Like I said, you know, people lie, women lie, numbers don't lie. Manny Pacquiao landed 81 punches. So what are we talking about? Can I Floyd Mayweather, when he fought Pacquiao, Manny Pacquiao, he landed 81 punches on Floyd. So how can you land 81 punches and win the fight? Floyd Mayweather landed 151 punches, or more than that. He nearly doubled the amount of punches Pacquiao landed on him. You know what I mean? And you got to keep in mind, Floyd Mayweather controlled him. See, just because you're coming forward doesn't mean you're winning the fight. You also have to base the fight on ring generalship, on turning, controlling you. If I'm controlling you, then I'm the ring general. So, I mean, we saw Pacquiao against Floyd Mayweather. He will dive into Floyd Mayweather like you dive into a pool, and Floyd Mayweather will check left hook him. He will throw a check hook and pivot, and Pacquiao will dive into a corner on some Ricky Hatton. That's called control. That's called Floyd Mayweather being the ring general. That means Floyd Mayweather is controlling Manny Pacquiao. You can't give Manny Pacquiao the points for being aggressive when he's not controlling Floyd. He's not putting Floyd Mayweather in the corner. And like I already pointed out, he had Floyd Mayweather in the corner, and what he do, he back out. He didn't want no static because he knew counter punches was coming in. You saw the fans cheer the whole time during the fight. Nobody said it was a boring fight till Teddy Atlas came out after the fight claiming it was boring. It was boring because the guy he was rooting for was losing. So when you want Manny Pacquiao to win and you got money on Pacquiao and Pacquiao losing, hitting air all night, he getting hit in the process, obviously it's boring on your end. It's not boring on our end because Mayweather, he looking pretty, boxing pretty, and kicking ass while making money. And we made money with him. You know what I mean? So all I'm saying is Floyd Mayweather beat Pacquiao at the end of the day. Pacquiao is on his legacy. Floyd Mayweather beat Canelo Alvarez. Floyd Mayweather beat Ortiz. Floyd Mayweather beat Cotto. He beat Guerrero. He beat Maidana. All these guys I just named, these guys Floyd Mayweather fought as Money May. As Money May, Floyd Mayweather fought Oscar De La Hoya, Ricky Hatton, Ortiz, Sugar Shane Mosley, Guerrero, Cotto, Canelo Alvarez, Manny Pacquiao, and Berto. All these fighters I just named, they champions. All these fighters that I just named, Floyd Mayweather fought them out of their after their biggest win. Meanwhile, Manny Pacquiao, when he got, if truth be told, when he got to Barrera and Morales, they pretty much already beat each other up. And that was Manny Pacquiao's best wins. And then when he moved up to 135, he didn't fight nobody but one person for a championship belt. He moved up to 140. He fought Ricky Hatton, Floyd Mayweather leftover. He campaigned at 147, and he was known as the catchweight king, fighting Floyd Mayweather leftovers. So if we look at the facts, facts say Floyd Mayweather fought the best. Because you could go back to Kenny Bayless interviews with Floyd Mayweather. And Floyd Mayweather, every time he goes on Kenny Bayless, Kenny always has something to say, telling Floyd to fight this guy, telling Floyd to fight that guy, telling Floyd to fight this guy, right? Every time he named somebody, he named Baldomir. Floyd Mayweather fought Baldomir. He named Ricky Hatton. Floyd Mayweather fought Ricky Hatton. He named Shane Mosley. Floyd Mayweather fought Shane Mosley. He named Manny Pacquiao. Floyd Mayweather sent Manny Pacquiao offer. You get what I'm saying? Now, where is Manny Pacquiao, Kenny Bayless, though? Where he at? You see the double standards? See, Floyd Mayweather, he fight the best, and he gets a guy like Kenny Bayless still criticizing him. He damn if he do, damn if he don't. Manny Pacquiao is not fighting who he's supposed to be fighting. He didn't fight Floyd Mayweather when we went ahead and fight Floyd. He turned it down due to a drug test. He didn't fight a lot of guys that we went ahead and fight when they were coming off wins, like Shane Mosley, right? Where is his Kenny Bayless? Where is Canelo Alvarez Kenny Bayless when he's ducking Andrade and Charlo to this day? Where is these guys? Because see, Ali had a Kenny Bayless of his time. Ali, every time he fought, they would criticize him. Oh, fight this guy, even though he was already fighting the best. He had a Kenny Bayless for his time. Floyd Mayweather had a Kenny Bayless. Roy Jones had a criticism. But these guys on the hope list, from Manny Pacquiao to Canelo Alvarez to Vasily Lomachenko, they act like businessmen, but nobody questioned their decision. You'll never see Canelo Alvarez come to split decision where I could question him the tough questions and ask him the questions that need to be answered. And it's not, nothing disrespectful. It's legit criticism.
Yeah.
Morales, Barrera, Oscar De La Hoya, Bernard Hopkins, all these legends want Canelo Alvarez to fight Andrade and Charlo, right? I could ask some simple questions like that. Why Max Kellerman doesn't do that? Why the Zone interviewers doesn't do that to Canelo Alvarez? And it's nothing disrespectful. Like I said, why they don't do what Kenny Bayless did to Floyd? Asks them the tough questions that the fans want to be answered. Like, for example, if I ever interview Canelo, I'm going to ask him the $1 million question. When are you going to fight Andrade? His obvious answer is going to be never, because he's boring. He moves. So I'm going to ask him, why is he boring? He obviously going to say he moves too much. So it's okay for you to move against Gennady Golovkin, but it's not okay for Andrade to move. And Andrade doesn't even move like that, truth be told. What is he going to say then? He's going to be back to a corner. That's why Canelo will never do an interview with AKHi, because I'm too real for him. But Floyd Mayweather will do an interview with AKHi if Floyd Mayweather was still fighting, because Floyd ain't tripping. Floyd knows whoever you about to name, I want to smoke with him. Right. So all I'm saying, the double standards in the sport. You never see Canelo Alvarez have a Kenny Bayless or a guy that interviews him and put pressure on him to answer the tough questions and ask him, when are you going to fight the guys we want you to fight? We don't see that to Manny Pacquiao. And truth be told, Manny Pacquiao, he at least get a tougher treatment than Canelo, for example. At least they will ask him. But Canelo is just, Pacquiao is such a nice guy. He will answer it. You know what I mean? He will get himself out of the question by saying, ask my promoter, I'll fight him. But he won't do it. Like when Errol Spence called him out, he says, why not? And then what happened? The fight didn't happen. So he just knows how to get himself out of the situation, but he won't really fight. So all I'm saying is, we see the pattern. Even when he fought Keith Thurman, truth be told, he didn't fight Keith Thurman till he saw Lopez nearly knock him out. He was supposed to fight Errol Spence. And Errol Spence called him to the Cowboy Stadium in front of 50,000 fans, telling him, "What's up? Are you gonna fight me? You fought at this stadium. You backed up the stadium. I backed the stadium too. If we fight, we're gonna fill it up."
Mhm.
Pacquiao had no answer because Errol looked like a beast. He fought Keith Thurman instead, who was nearly coming off his worstest performance to this day. So you see the pattern. Pacquiao fought fighters coming off their worstest performances. Meanwhile, Floyd fought fighters coming off their best performances. And just to settle the deal, who would you rather be? The person that received losses on more than one occasion during different occasions and stages of their career. For example, Manny Pacquiao got knocked out twice coming up at the featherweight division or flyweight division. Then moved to 126 or 130, lost to Morales, an old version of Morales, if we are being truthful, like not the best version of Morales. Then he moved to 147. He lost to Bradley. People said it was a robbery, so okay, we don't have to count that. He got knocked out by Marquez. He was snoring. Forget being Manny Pacquiao. I'd rather not be a Manny Pacquiao fan. I'd rather be a Floyd Mayweather fan than a Manny Pacquiao fan because it was devastating as a Pacquiao fan watching Pacquiao get knocked out. I nearly cried that day. I was looking at the TV, and I'm not talking about AKHi TV. I was watching the TV when Pacquiao got knocked out for 2 hours, like in disbelief. Like, man, I couldn't sleep that night. I was having nightmares because I really had love for Pacquiao.
Yeah.
So Pacquiao got put to sleep, and then later on lost to Jeff Horn. People say it was a robbery. Again, I had Pacquiao winning, but it was too close. Man, Jeff Horn doesn't even belong in the ring with Pacquiao. Pacquiao should have watched him. Anyways, he lost to Floyd Mayweather, right? So he received multiple losses during different stages. So you can't make excuses. You can't say, oh, well, that was too early. You can't say that was too late. He received losses in different stages of his career. Meanwhile, Floyd Mayweather, he did not even have an off night. Come on, man. That's unheard of. And every time he had a close fight, he gave the guy a rematch. Unlike Canelo, when Lara beat him, unlike these other fighters like Lomachenko and Salido beat him, Floyd Mayweather, when Floyd had a close fight with Castillo, he gave him a rematch. Floyd Mayweather had a broken shoulder. He still won the fight. He still found a way to win. He gave Castillo a rematch. He had a close fight with Maidana. When Maidana was hitting him on the nuts and all that. Gave him a rematch. He still beat him in a clear fashion where people couldn't say anything anymore. Now, before the fight, they claimed Floyd Mayweather was scared. He ain't going to give them a rematch. After the fight, he cherry-picked. You see what I'm saying? Every time Floyd Mayweather, even the Manny Pacquiao situation, they were claiming that he will never fight Pacquiao. As soon as he signed to fight Manny Pacquiao, people switched the script and claimed that, Floyd Mayweather is trying to fight Manny Pacquiao and Pacquiao is too old. Like, they always got something smart to say. So if you're going to compare Manny Pacquiao to Ali, why not compare the true or the Ali of our era, which was Floyd Mayweather? Because truth be told, Ali never lost in his prime. When Ali fought, double standards beat Ali. Remember the Vietnam War thing. He had to fight something. His thing outside of boxing. Because they wanted him to be defeated. They couldn't find nobody to defeat him. He beat the best fighters in the world. He beat the best German fighters in the world. He beat every single fighter from every country. He beat them. They were like, man, this man a Muslim. He black. He pretty. He undefeated. He claimed he the greatest. He 100 years past his time. Man, we got to get him defeated. They couldn't defeat him inside of the ring. They defeated him outside of the ring. Why? He wanted to fight the best. Took 3 years out of his prime where he was in training, came back, still kick ass. Still, I mean, he wasn't like a workaholic like Floyd, but he let Ken Norton get the best of him. He fought with a broken jaw, though. He fought with a broken jaw for 8 rounds. They came back and beat Ken Norton. He beat Frazier twice. He beat George Foreman in an impressive fashion, right? He went to Cuba trying to fight the best Cuban fighter in the game because he ran out of opponents. He did not really start losing till later on in his career when he was pretty much brain damaged. And you know why that is? If you go back before Ali fought those guys and watch the interviews, Ali will stutter. And Ali never stuttered. But he kind of like, he was pause and stuff like that. So that lets you know that Ali was kind of hitting the limit of he needed to just retire. But the reason why he didn't retire, he said it himself, he could do more as a champion. He could help a lot of hospitals. He could donate a lot of his money. He meets a lot of presidents and gets a lot of charity to donate to the poor. You know, so he was doing a whole lot, and he risked his health, not for his wealth, but for the wealth of the people, so he could help other people, right? Yeah. That's why Ali started losing toward the end of his career and received back-to-back losses, right? But you can't compare that to a Pacquiao situation, because Pacquiao, he aged better than Ali, but also there's better technology. He kept better with his shape, and also ain't no telling what Pacquiao's on. That's my guy, but he didn't take the VADA testing versus Keith Thurman. Mm-hmm. So that's why I say, if you're going to compare somebody to Ali, compare the closest one to Ali, who's the top 5 greatest fighters of all time, Floyd Mayweather. Hate it or love it, BoxRec have Floyd Mayweather as the greatest of all time. Hate it or love it, ESPN hate Floyd. They have Floyd Mayweather rated as the fighter of the era, above Manny Pacquiao. Hate it or love it, Floyd Mayweather will always be ranked higher than Pacquiao. Hate it or love it, you would rather be undefeated with all your wealth, and you ain't even get dropped during your whole career, other than the Zab Judah, which it didn't count, which was also a trick, compared to a Pacquiao that didn't just got knocked out on more than one occasion. He got put to sleep in front of his kids where they thought he was dead. Man, I'm telling you, his wife was crying, his kids was crying. It was a sad scene. I don't know if I should have tear or not. You know, people think that I don't really got love for Pacquiao, but I'm going to just tell the truth, because I got to call a spade a spade. Truth be told, Manny Pacquiao, one of my favorite fighters of all time, top 20. And top 20 don't sound like a whole bunch, but you got to remember, I like Duran, Sugar Ray Leonard, Sugar Ray Robertson, Joe Louis, Jack Johnson. I watch all these guys. I watch Salvador Sanchez, Barrera, Morales, Marquez, Oscar De La Hoya, and all the greats from, like I said, Roy Jones, Errol Spence, Terrence Crawford. I mean, my list goes on and on and on. So if you make my top 20, when I have Andre Ward on the list, when I have all these favorite fighters of mine, I'm a hardcore fan of yours. I'm a hardcore fan of Manny Pacquiao. But the truth separate. I know how to separate my emotion from my, from my logic, from my brain. When I'm speaking logically, you got to speak with facts, because facts trump opinion. So, like I said, I knocked out all the decaps when it comes to this on split decision, and they know this. Right. That's why, like I said, I got a Dragon Ball shirt, so they could wish to get some cojones in order to face AKHi, because it won't be no split decision. You won't be saved by the bell. It's gonna be a KO. So all I'm pretty much saying is, give credit where credit is due. Obviously, Keith Thurman, he petty. Keith Thurman, he always wanted to be like Floyd Mayweather. Keith Thurman wanted to retire undefeated. I mean, you got to remember, this is the same guy, Keith Thurman, who he said he have an O and he ain't afraid to let it go. But when Errol Spence wanted to fight him, he said, I'm cool with being the second best. When Errol Spence wanted to fight him, he changed his whole energy. You know what I mean? So Floyd didn't rock like that. I challenge you to find any interview where Floyd Mayweather said, I'm cool with being the second best. No. While your opponent on the other side talking about, man, I want this fight as bad as I want to breathe. Man, Errol scared me when he said that shit. That's like, damn, Errol gonna kill this cat. So all I'm saying is, man, he had Errol coming at him like that, talking about, oh, I ain't hungry. He hungry. I ain't hungry. I'm cool with being the second best right now. What? Man, you think Floyd would say something like that? Come on, man. Like I said, I don't call it envy. I just think he being petty. He don't want to give Floyd Mayweather his props. But the same guy that beat you, the same guy that beat Keith Thurman at 40-year-old, Floyd Mayweather beat him 5 years before that. When Floyd Mayweather was older than Manny Pacquiao. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So, like I said, you can't make any excuses, because I done debunked every excuse. But with that being said, what you guys think about what Keith Thurman had to say? Is he being petty, what is going on with Keith? One time. We just wanted the truth one time. But see, the thing is, Hopkins did the same thing, Porter did the same thing, and Keith Thurman now doing the same thing. You got to remember, the reason why they do that, they don't want to receive backlash. Because, on the internet, the truth is not popular. So if he says that, he's going to receive a whole lot of hate. Timothy Bradley nearly wanted to commit suicide when he beat Pacquiao. And he didn't even rob Pacquiao. It was the judges. So why y'all mad at Bradley? He was receiving death threats and all that. But again, when you're on the coincidental list, you damn if you do, damn if you don't. So they feel like, oh man, I'm going to say something that's going to please all the decafs so they could leave me the heck alone and they could be on my side. But what they don't know is as soon as you fight one of them, they're going to all turn against you. And Keith Thurman should know that. Because when Keith Thurman was on the come up, he said, you can either be a Floyd Mayweather or a Manny Pacquiao. One way to be like Manny Pacquiao and be a star is you got to fight the best and be entertaining. However, what he didn't know, he didn't have the complexion for the protection. Because as soon as he fought Guerrero, and Guerrero, truth be told, he wasn't he was the underdog. Keith Thurman had more fans than Guerrero. Keith Thurman was more popular. I don't know. I think Keith Thurman was also the champion, or they were fighting for the vacant belt for Floyd Mayweather's. And what did Guerrero do? I mean, what did the fans do? They booed Keith Thurman. Just like they booed Floyd Mayweather in every single of his fights in his second home, Las Vegas, against foreigners. Just like they try to cheat Floyd Mayweather against Maidana with the glove gate in his own country, in his own soil. Keith Thurman been in the same position. He been in the same position with Guerrero and every Latino fighter he fought, even Danny Garcia. So all I'm pretty much saying is he should know better than this and tell the truth. If you cut like Ali, act like Ali. If you want to be the greatest outside of the ring too. Have the character of being a truth teller and say that, yeah, we face double standards all the time, like Floyd Mayweather said. Like Floyd Mayweather said, I had to be the judges, the referee, the commission, and you name it. Keith Thurman could have said the same thing. I mean, I fight somebody on the hope list and they will boo me when I'm the main fighter of the card and all that. I'm carrying the card on my own, blah, 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 blah. So my point is, Keith Thurman should know better than that. But that's why, for example, Errol, if you ask Errol the same question, I promise you he'll give you a different answer. You know why? Because of his nickname. Right. He the truth. He gonna tell you the truth. He ain't gonna tell you. I mean, Keith Thurman can't even tell us the truth one time. He gonna tell us Pacquiao, the same man that Floyd Mayweather washed Pacquiao, man. It wasn't even a close fight. Floyd Mayweather beat Pacquiao 10 rounds to 2. And you're gonna tell me this guy that lost 10 rounds is a better fighter than Floyd Mayweather, that's undefeated, untouched for 20 freaking years, beat all type of records. And I'm not even talking about money. See, if they had the green print for money, everybody will be rich. But that's why Floyd Mayweather undefeated, because they don't got the damn green print for money. You know what I mean? So they just hating, but it's crazy to me because every time I see all these decafs, they just hate on Floyd Mayweather so much. But you got to pay homage. In order for people to respect you, you have to respect the past greats and give credit where credit is due. And that's all I'm pretty much saying. But, you know, it is what it is at this point. I don't know what's going on with Keith Thurman. But, you know, hopefully he get it together. So I'm going to have call in toward the end of the show. Like I said, we kind of like short on time, though. So hopefully we're going to make it. But hold on. Let's go ahead and go to the next one.
So Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury. Anthony Joshua called out Tyson Fury saying, I want to break his head. He's saying that he can take him out in 6 rounds. 6 rounds.
Yeah, I mean,
is he able to do it?
I mean, I think, to be honest with you, I think Anthony Joshua is well capable of doing that, of doing exactly that. Anthony Joshua, I was highly impressed by his fight with Ruiz in the rematch. He showed a lot of skill. However, that's against a guy that is shorter than you. You know, styles make fights. But according to Anthony Joshua, he hate fighting fighters that's shorter than him. That's his kryptonite. So I don't know how much true that is. You know that better than I do. But me, experience-wise, if I'm sparring a fighter that's shorter than me, it's easier for me to control him. I could control him with a jab. I could pivot. I could dance. I could be the ring general and all that. You know, you could play the matador role, and you could also fight in the inside whenever you please. Just cut off the gap and close the distance and smother his work. So my experience, I mean, I'd rather fight a fighter shorter than me because I got boxing better, especially if you're a boxer. According to AJ, he feel like he like fighting fighters his size, not shorter.
Yeah.
So, I mean, to each your preference, to each your own. So when he said that, you know, obviously Tyson Fury is taller than him. He got more reach, more height. Mm-hmm. But what's going well for AJ, Tyson Fury, he pillow fisted. According to Nicholas Asbury, Tyson Fury on sparring partner, man, this Tyson Fury can't hurt a fly. He had to tamper with his gloves versus Deontay Wilder in order to hurt Deontay Wilder. Mm-hmm. And Anthony Joshua is aware of this. That's why he's making these statements. Anthony Joshua is 1,000% aware of Tyson Fury tampering with his glove against Deontay Wilder. The reason why Nicholas Asbury, when he busted Tyson Fury tampering with his gloves and sparring, Anthony Joshua, own fighter, was present there. He was sparring Tyson Fury with Nicholas Asbury, and he called Anthony Joshua on the phone, and he told Anthony Joshua everything. And Nicholas Asbury was there. Coach Berry was also there, one of the best coaches in martial arts, et cetera, et cetera. So Anthony already know, man, this guy, when I fight him,
he ain't gonna be able to do
he's not gonna have power. This man, he's not gonna be able to fight like his Iron Mike. He's gonna try to box, but he's not gonna have power. And I got skill. See, what you gotta remember, Tyson Fury don't like to fight skillful fighters. Excuse me. When he fought Steve Cunningham was a cruiserweight. There was 70 pounds different between between Steve Cunningham and Tyson Fury. And Steve Cunningham he managed to drop Tyson Fury, even though he was like 70 pounds smaller than him. However, he has skill. That's why Tyson avoided Luis Ortiz, because Luis Ortiz possibly the most skillful heavyweight. That's why.
So you think that
he don't like fighters that's skillful. So he knows a guy like Anthony Joshua he got the skill.
But he's been calling out Anthony Joshua
because it's the big money fight. He gonna try to cheat, but he won't be able to cheat because Anthony Joshua already know the truth.
So you think between them two, you think who you got winning?
At first, before I knew Tyson Fury cheated, if you go back to Split Decision episode 23 and 24, I gave Fury all the praise. I thought Fury was going to beat AJ, but knowing the fact that he cheated, the reason why he had to cheat, because he really pillow fisted. So I have to side with Anthony Joshua because Anthony have power. He have fast hand speed. He throw great combinations. He got skill. Now, the only issue with AJ, he don't have the best chin in the world, but he don't got to worry about the power coming from Fury because Fury don't hit hard. So you're going to be able to take his power. But the better question, can Fury take Anthony Joshua power, especially a combination puncher? Mm-hmm. So I believe Anthony Joshua, he truly believes in himself when it comes to Tyson Fury. You got to remember, he offered Tyson Fury to spar leading up to the Deontay Wilder fight, to prepare him for Deontay Wilder. The reason why he wanted to see what it's like to be in the ring with him, because he knows, man, this dude, let me see if he's going to try to cheat with me in sparring. And, I mean, if he don't cheat, then I'm going to beat his ass. If he do cheat, you know what I mean? Like, I'm basically see what he do. You know what I mean? Either way, it was a win-win situation for AJ. So, Fury, obviously, what AJ should have, what AJ should have did, he should have told the world that Fury cheated. You know what I mean? But that's none of his business at the end of the day. If we all being truthful, You know, Anthony
Because
Joshua.
he still want to fight.
Yeah, he still want to fight him, man. He want to get rid of Deontay Wilder. Deontay Wilder is his kryptonite. Deontay Wilder, that power is AJ kryptonite because AJ don't have the best shit in the world, and all it takes is one. So you could be perfect the whole night. If you don't get Deontay Wilder out of there, he gonna get you out of there because it's hard to be perfect the whole night.
Yeah, and Ortiz is a perfect example.
If you swim, you're gonna get wet. If you box, you're gonna get hit. So AJ, if you ain't Floyd Mayweather, you gonna get hit. So he felt like, man, Deontay Wilder is just my kryptonite. So he wanted Fury to actually get Deontay Wilder out of the way. And when he did get Deontay Wilder out of the way, that's why he's trying to pursue Anthony Joshua. I mean, that's why he's trying to pursue Fury fight at all costs. You know, they already agreed on a money split, just not anything else, because there's a mountain of agreement, according to Frank. Yeah, that mountain of agreement is for Tyson Fury to use the gloves he wants to use so he could tamper with him. But Anthony Joshua ain't going to let that slide. Anthony Joshua know better than that. So I believe Anthony will, you know, he will get the best of him. And like I said, if you watch Tyson Fury, every time he fought a skillful fighter, he struggled. Wildin', man. Wildin', I mean, he ain't the best damn fighter in the world, but he got a little skill. He nearly beat him. You know what I mean? He not even top 20, I believe, right now. He possibly top 20 now, but he was in top 20 then, and he nearly beat Fury. You know what I mean? So, like I said, if you go back to watch Fury, every time he had a tough fight, it was against a skillful fighter, and he had to come back and take steroids in order to win or tamper with gloves in order to win. So, Deontay Wilder, AJ claimed that Wilder's a one-trick pony, but that one trick does the magic. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, you could be one-trick pony, but that trick, you know, it get the job done. So, Wilder, obviously, he don't have to resort to a lot of different things. He just be patient till he land the one. However, AJ going to take a different approach to Tyson Fury, which is I'm going to box him and I'm going to go there for the KO and knock him out. So, like I said, truth be told, you know, I'll be honest with you, I believe AJ, you know, he will win. But on the other hand, you know, Fury did come out and say that he will knock out Anthony Joshua in the first round. Which is some bull crap. You know, he ain't knocking no damn body out the first round. If he tampered with his glove, he got a chance, but he ain't knocking nobody out with his gloves, man. Like, you know, he better he collect the Dragon Balls and wish that you would have cojones to face Wilder the third time without tampering with your gloves. Because Wilder, he coming for blood, like he said, man. Wilder already said it. He said that this man, you know, Wilder brother, actually, he said that this man, you know, he pretty much cheated us. There was a blunt object, according to the doctor, on Fury gloves. So we coming for blood in a rematch. So we'll see.
All right. Round 5. Oscar De La Hoya claims boxing viewership is down without Canelo.
Oh, hold on.
Which
my man said Tyson Fury Margarito. My man. Yeah, killing him. Going in on him. Like I said, once a cheater, you'll always be a cheater. My man going in. So, what's going on?
Okay, so this is a two-part question. Oscar De La Hoya claims boxing viewership is down without Canelo. You think was just kind of contradicting?
Man,
Canelo can fight and make about.
So he trying to say Canelo Alvarez I saw the tweet. You know, you talking about when he said Canelo is down without Canelo, right?
Yeah.
Man, I don't know what the heck Oscar talking about. First of all, their viewership is down. Their viewership, the zone viewership is down. After the pandemic and before the pandemic. Because they never released Canelo Alvarez viewership numbers. So if Canelo Alvarez viewership numbers is so great, why not release them to the world? Why are you keeping it a secret? Right? So after the pandemic, DAZN had a card or two. Virgil Ortiz fought, and somebody else had a fight. And I don't want to shit on Virgil because that's my guy, but how much ratings did they do? I know they didn't crack nowhere near PBC. Because what Oscar did, he tried to shit on PBC because PBC just had a couple fights back to back, right? PBC did more than 1 million on pay-per-view when my man David Morrell fought. David Morrell is a prospect that's 2-0. And he's doing more numbers than Virgil Ortiz. My man David Morrell Jr. did more ratings than Canelo Alvarez when he fights on DAZN.
Yeah.
Canelo Alvarez don't do no 1.3 million viewership on DAZN. He don't do 1.3 million on DAZN. David Morrell, who's not even a champion, he was fighting for the interim title against a 22-0 fighter. He did more viewership than Canelo. What the heck is Oscar De La Hoya talking about? Man, I'm telling you, they desperate because they made a huge mistake and a huge miscalculation because they got their money up front. They got their money guaranteed, but DAZN, they not here for the longevity. They're not gonna here for the long run because they're not receiving revenue. Where is their revenue? Because they first had it $10 a fight. I mean $10 a month for their app, and now it's $20. Now Eddie Hearn talking about raising it to $50, right? Eddie Hearn came to the game talking about pay-per-view is dead. Then a year later, he says he should host pay-per-view on DAZN, having a month payment of $50 or at least have pay-per-view. Hold on, I thought you said pay-per-view is dead. You see how they contradict themselves? You know why are they contradicting themselves? Money making them contradict themselves. You know why money making them contradict themselves? Because they're not receiving the viewership they should be receiving, which translate to numbers, which mean their viewership is struggling. Facts say that because truth be told, PBC before the pandemic and after the pandemic, but let's just before the pandemic real quick. Let's talk about it. Charlo fought, did the highest numbers on PBC, like 2.3 million. All these PBC fighters. I mean, when Keith Thurman fought Guerrero, when they first moved to Free Network, you know how much they did? 4.9 million. When Canelo, no, viewership, no, not pay-per-view, just viewership, just when Errol Spence fought Valdemir, Errol Spence did 6.5 million on Free Network TV. Something Canelo will never do on DAZN. And we talking about guys that at the time weren't the most popular. Now Errol Spence, he on pay-per-view. Now you got so many upcoming fights on Fox PBC, on regular PBC, on Showtime. All these great fights. PBC is what's saving boxing. Like I always tell you, the PBC is the UFC version of boxing. Meanwhile, what the heck does Oscar De La Hoya have? Canelo Alvarez? That's the only guy he got. I mean, Virgil Ortiz is not a champion. Ryan Garcia is not a champion. And that's, truth be told, that's his only two upcoming stars. So who else do you have other than Canelo that's still ducking to this day? And that's why his popularity is going down. People don't care about no damn Avini. That's why nobody care about Canelo. I'm telling you, if you look at the ratings from articles, from videos of Canelo, they all going down because Canelo Alvarez is not the man anymore. He's the face cherry picker of boxing. He's no longer the face of boxing. So how is Canelo going to save the sport? When Canelo, he come back to cherry pick Avini and nobody going to watch the fight. And DAZN ain't going to release the numbers. So if DAZN is not going to release the numbers, we know they doing bad. We know they're not doing at least what they breaking out even. In order to break out even, they're not even doing that. They losing money on DAZN. So that's why I'm telling you, when Oscar says that, it's just coming from a petty place because he was too busy in doing all that. And then Al Heyman finessed him of all his fighters. And they all signed with Al Heyman because they were like, man, our promoter busy doing this. And Al Heyman, he doing real estate for his fighters.
Yeah.
he's not just looking out for the fighter health. He's also looking out for the fighter interest in and out of the ring, this and that, setting up your future. Leo Santa Cruz was a Golden Boy fighter, and he named his son Al Heyman. You know what I mean? So that lets you know that Oscar De La Hoya is just petty. This is the same guy that was talking about Floyd Mayweather versus Conor McGregor. It should be boycott. Then after Floyd Mayweather versus Conor McGregor does 6 times more than Canelo versus Gennady Golovkin, then he want to fight Conor McGregor. Then he calls out Conor McGregor. Then Canelo called out Conor McGregor. I mean, the hypocrisy and the contradiction, they contradict themselves with every single breath. But people lie, women lie, however, numbers don't lie. And PBC numbers is the highest over ESPN, over the Zone, and there's no competition. It's monopoly because PBC really got the whole game beat, and they hate to see a black man winning, to be truth be told. They haven't even addressed them calling Al Heyman the N-word during emails. So if you haven't addressed the emails, and that's why a lot of people kind of like turned off by Golden Boy, because y'all haven't even addressed a big issue under Golden Boy. Calling Al the N-word and the Hitler of our time, blah, 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 when he's saving the sport. Jim Lampley said that Al Heyman is the cancer of boxing. And what happened to Jim Lampley and HBO? They went out of business. And what happened to Al Heyman and Floyd Mayweather? Went up. They've created PBC, and it's the number one in the game. And they who are saving the sport. But let me tell you this: since Oscar De La Hoya want to claim Canelo is what saving the sport, why didn't Canelo save HBO? Canelo was fighting for HBO. Why didn't Canelo Alvarez save HBO when HBO was drowning on some A boogie? And I'm not talking about I'm talking about the time when HBO were talking about, oh, on some drowning. They drowning where Canelo at. You know what I mean? Like, why he didn't save HBO? You know what I mean? But now he gonna save boxing on the Zone, fighting Avini, coming off a loss, requesting the WBC to order a French fries bill to avoid to avoid Charlo. When Charlo told him that I'm gonna fight you in Mexico City, I'm more Mexican than you. He's questioning his manhood. You know what I mean? So for Oscar to say that, and Oscar said for Canelo Alvarez to be a great, and Hopkins said for Canelo Alvarez to be great, he has to fight Charlo and Andre. And Canelo ain't fought them till this day. He's still ducking till this day, man. Hey, wish the Dragon Ball grant new cojones to fight Charlo and Andre. That might be the only way. You know what I mean? Dragon Ball might be the way. And all the decafs, wish the Dragon to grant y'all the cojones to face AKHi on split decision, since y'all being a no-show and have no cojones to call in. I'll be having these decafs on speed dial and they hang up. So all I'm saying is, if he was going to save the sport of boxing, why didn't he save HBO when they were drowning on some A boogie saying, oh, Al Heyman, he the cancer of boxing, but he over there on PBC saving boxing, the UFC of boxing. Come on, man. Like I said, Oscar De La Hoya, if you know better, do better, man. I got a question for Oscar De La Hoya. Please, man, please tell me why you always hating, man. For real, for real. But we'll go ahead and dive into the next topic.
All right.
Shout out to all my AKHis in the chat.
Okay, staying on the Oscar De La Hoya topic, you see a lot of Mike Tyson coming back to boxing. What's his name?
Hold on. Aladdin, my guy in the comment section. Shout out to you, my AKHi. Hey, my people's going in. My people's, my AKHis. No mercy. They have no mercy. And you already know. I can't pay a decaf to call in. So go ahead and move on to the next one.
Oscar De La Hoya. You see Mike Tyson coming back to boxing. What's his name?
Versus Roy
Jones coming back. Now Oscar De La Hoya wants to come back to boxing. What do you think about that? And what do you think that will do for Canelo? In terms of how's it gonna? Is it bad news for Canelo?
It's bad news. It's gonna affect his pride because Oscar is not talking about an exhibition. He wants a real fight. He called out Charlo. He called out the guy
Oscar De La Hoya.
Yeah. He called out the guy Canelo ducking to this day. Man, I'm telling you, it's a huge Oscar De La Hoya. You're talking about a guy. We could joke about Oscar being this and that. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, you gotta pay homage where homage is due. You already know. I don't operate like the decafs. I always tell the truth. Oscar De La Hoya fought the best. There were some fighters he was not interested in, but compared to the fighters he fought, it's okay. I mean, he fought the legends from Chavez, Pernell Whitaker, Camacho, Floyd Mayweather, Trinidad, Manny Pacquiao, and there's just few names on his resume. I mean, the list goes on and on and on and on. Now he's 47 years old. I don't know, somewhere around that. I don't know how old is Oscar De La Hoya, to be honest with you. I think he's 47 right now.
He's about to hit 50.
Yeah, he's 47, 46. For him to come back and him calling out Charlo, and he even called out Canelo. He said, don't count out Canelo. I might fight Canelo to show him how to act like a man and fight like a man and fight the best. He's doing it on the purpose. Yeah. The reason why Oscar De La Hoya is doing that, I truly believe he got fed up of Canelo Alvarez and the way he's moving. He got tired of Canelo operating the way he does. He was like, man, I can't force this man to fight the best. He want to fight Haney. We telling him to fight Charlo and Andrade, and he want to fight a fighter coming off a loss, man. So what Oscar De La Hoya figured out, he like, you know what? I'm going to come back to the sport, and I'm going to show him how he should behave like a man, and I'm going to fight the guy he's ducking. Because Oscar, like I told you, Oscar told the public that Canelo Alvarez need to fight Andrade and Charlo in order to be recognized as a great fighter. Hopkins, a co-promoter, said the same thing. In order to be a Mexican great, you have to fight Charlo and Andrade. Morales, Barrera, Chavez Sr., and the list goes on and on from all the legendary greats. Told Canelo the same thing. Guess what Canelo did when it comes to Oscar De La Hoya? He called his lawyer on him.
Oh, no.
Oscar and Canelo don't speak no more. They speak through lawyers. Guess what Canelo Alvarez did to Marquez when Marquez told Canelo, you need to fight Charlo. Quit ducking Charlo. You know what he did? He wanted to fight Marquez. 126-pounder. He want to fight Marquez now. Like, this man is so petty. And they didn't tell him nothing. Like, they didn't criticize him where they disrespected him. It's legit criticism. It's the facts that he ducking. And he have no cojones. So they telling him, you have to face these guys in order to be great. And he want to fight Haney coming off a loss. Requesting the WBC to order the fight. Since they in his pocket. Just like he requested the WBC to give up the pride of Mexico, the WBC strap, to the Lion, Charlo. He didn't want to hop in the Lion Den. In Texas, they both from Texas. It's a huge Hispanic community over there. They could have sold out Cowboy Stadium. Charlo even went and told him, I'll fight you in Mexico City, man. I'm more Mexican than you. It don't get no more disrespectful than that. And now Oscar De La Hoya calling out a man that's Canelo ducking. And he also said, don't count out Canelo. He didn't say, when he was asked, would you fight Canelo? He didn't say no. So anything is possible. He letting Canelo know, I'm going to show you how to have the cojones of
You think he's
the
about
greats.
it, though? He's like calling out Jamal.
Man, Oscar about it, man. I know Oscar. Oscar will fight. His last 2 fights were Floyd Mayweather and Manny Pacquiao. What you think? You think he tripping about Canelo? Man, his last 2 fight is Floyd Mayweather and Manny Pacquiao, 2 of the greatest fighters of all time.
Mm.
If I name you, Oscar, he fought Pernell Whitaker, Sweet Pea Whitaker. He fought. I mean, the list goes on and on. If I name you the fighters he fought, I will go all day. Meanwhile, Canelo Alvarez won a fighter coming off a loss, and that's why Oscar it prompted him and motivated him to realize, you know what, I'm gonna just come back and show this man how to fight like a real Mexican and behave like a real Mexican warrior. Because see, Oscar come from a school where Mexicans fight Mexicans. You know, Oscar fought Mexicans. Oscar fought Chavez Sr. even. Chavez Sr. was old, but my point is, Canelo won't fight any Mexican unless you Chavez Jr., unless you Lopez moving up 2 weight divisions. But when it's a guy like Benavidez, he was a WBC champion, never ever thought of fighting him. He even said, I won't fight my people. When the Mexican tradition is Mexican versus the best Mexican fighters, like Morales, Barrera, Marquez, Morales, and the way they fought each other, right? You go back to wars, legendary classic wars. For the people that haven't watched those fights, you have to, if you haven't watched the Barrera, Morales, and all the wars, right? And Canelo want to stop the tradition because now there's a Mexican fighter that's a threat to him. But he didn't want to stop the tradition when Chavez wanted to fight him, when Lopez wanted to fight him. And those fights were huge. Matter of fact, Angulo and Chavez Jr. fights were on pay-per-view. And one of Canelo's biggest fights was Chavez Jr. A bigger fight will be Benavidez, though. However, he'd rather fight Avini for Benavidez' title coming off a loss. When Avini coming off a loss, and I told you 2 fights before that, he had like 31 losses and 3 wins. And he requested the WBC to make this fight happen. That's why Oscar is fed up, because behind closed doors, he'd been fighting Canelo Alvarez, trying to force him to fight better competition. And Canelo's just been saying, absolutely nah, man. You know, I want to protect my record. Oscar been telling me, you ain't even undefeated. Protect what? You ain't even undefeated. Truth be told, you got 3 L's. You lost to Floyd, you lost to Lara, and people felt like you lost to Gennady Golovkin. So what the heck are you talking about? You don't want to give Lara a rematch? Now at least fight Charlo. And that's the thing about Charlo. Remember, when Charlo was, I believe, around the time when he fought J-Rock Williams, the last 2 undefeated fighters that fought each other, I think at the time were Floyd Mayweather and Canelo Alvarez at 154, right? Then a couple years later, J-Rock Williams and Charlo fought each other. J-Rock Williams haven't lost a round yet. I mean, he was looking great. You like, man, he was looking like the Devin Haneys, the Lopez's, like the next great. You know what I mean? He looking like the next Shakur and all that, right? Charlo, on the other hand, he was undefeated. He was a champion. He was going to move out of the division, but J-Rock Williams was calling him out, and he was his mandatory. What did Charlo do? He could have avoided J-Rock Williams. Well, he fought J-Rock Williams. And guess what he did to J-Rock Williams? Man, he stretched him with one of the most beautiful counter uppercuts you could ever see. Now, peep this. The fight was so entertaining between 2 undefeated fighters going back and forth. When Charlo won by a crazy KO, the whole stadium went quiet. Like, everybody was like, shit, this dude is the truth. Damn, man, he been calling out Canelo. Damn, he could beat Canelo, man. This dude right here, the way he sparked J-Rock, he knocking out the crap out of Canelo. Back to Mexico City. Excuse me, no disrespect. Back to Ireland. Mexicans were like, man, Charlo is about to knock out Canelo Alvarez back to Ireland. because they don't even know if he's Ireland or Hispanic. Because one thing for sure, he ain't showing us that he got the Mexican cojones to fight the best. Because the Mexicans fighters, they always fought the best eventually. They always fought each other. Canelo, he acting like he Irish and shit. So when fans saw Charlo knock out J. Rock Williams, they thought, man, that uppercut could put Canelo Alvarez back to Irish, man. To Ireland, man. So the whole stadium went quiet. Do you know the most excitement moment of a fight is when a knockout happened or a knockdown? Yeah. That's when the fans supposed to be on their feet, screaming, you know what I mean, cheering. They didn't cheer. And that was in, like, I believe in either, I think it was in Charlo hometown or something like that. In Dallas, possibly. I'm not 1,000% on that. Or close to his hometown. Believe it or not, it was like, instead of like cheers, it was, oh, wow, what just happened? Like, you could hear that. I mean, go back and watch the fight. And then you wait, like, Charlo, obviously, he did the wrong thing. He didn't shake J-Rock's hand because of the lead up, which he was 1,000% wrong on that. But it was because of the trash talk. He felt bothered by the trash talk. Him being a line only, he got that pride in him. But he realized he made a mistake and he went and apologized. But as soon as he did that, it was all boos, boo. Like, where the hell the fans came from? We thought it was an empty arena when Charlo knocked him out. And J-Rock, my guy, like J-Rock, he a Muslim and all that. And that, like, I got love for J-Rock. But he was one of the top prospects, one of the top fighters in the game coming up, like a Devin Haney, Tio Lopez. Man, Charlo put him on. That's the moment they realized all these decals, all these Canelo fans, man. Oh, Canelo, you better avoid him. And he's still avoiding him to this day. You know what I mean? And there's a reason why he gave up his strap and pride of Mexico to Charlo. Because he knows Charlo is the truth. The moment Canelo Alvarez fights Charlo is the moment we all find out that Dragon Ball is real. That there are Dragon Balls out there, and Canelo made a wish, and he wished to grant him some cojones in order to face Charlo or Andre. You know what I mean? Yeah. So the moment a decaf will call in is the moment I'm going to find out that the Dragon Balls are real, because I can't pay a decaf to call in. I'm telling you, man, these decafs, I can't pay a decaf to call in because 1,000, a million of these decafs can't hold me back. I ran out of decafs on Split Decision. And on Boxing Hood, they're probably in the comment section trolling, but they won't call in though. I promise you that. But let's just go ahead and dive into the next round. Do we got anything else? Because we are short on times. I wanted to pick up calls, but we're gonna have to structure the show differently next time so I could pick up calls. Go ahead. Okay.
Javante says he went on, said he called out Devin Haney saying he's a cloud baby.
Say it again. I'm sorry, bro.
You good. Javante Davis. He went on, mentioned that he said he called out Devin Haney saying that he's a cloud baby.
Yo, man. Hey, Javante is so Baltimore.
I guess because he's calling him out.
Yeah, he's so Baltimore
for a while.
Javante, my guy. But Devin can't be a cloud baby if he really want the smoke. You are a cloud baby if you don't want the smoke. So you calling out Javante, but when Javante sends you an offer, you turn it down. That's a clout baby. But Devin want all the smoke. It was Ryan who was uninterested in, Devin Haney. It was these guys on the zone that were uninterested in Devin Haney when he's a champion. You know what I mean? Ryan want to claim, if you're a champion, I'm a champion, but we don't see you naming Devin Haney. He named him last. But he should have named him first if he felt like he's a champion, just like Devin Haney. You know what I mean? So I won't call him a clout baby unless he really out here clout chasing without wanting to fight. So I think he wants to fight. I think Javante will fight him. I think the only roadblock, like I told you last time, Floyd Mayweather is the roadblock, because Floyd Mayweather told every person that will listen, don't criticize Javante criticize me because I have a plan for Gervonta and I'm going to execute. Because, see, Floyd the fighter and the promoter is two different people.
Mm-hmm.
Floyd the fighter, because he was fighting himself, he had the confidence in himself to fight the best. Floyd the promoter, he got plans. He wants Gervonta versus Lomachenko first. And after that bag is secured, because of that fight being better stylistically matched up for Gervonta, and is even a better name because right now they claiming Lomachenko's pound for pound number one when he's not. But they claim he is. So Floyd like, man, we're going to capitalize on this first before Devin Haney. Devin Haney's a fight we could always make down the line. But we don't know if that fight going to happen down the line because Devin Haney could move up possibly to 140, 147, somewhere Gervonta can't move up to because he don't have the frame and the body for it. But like I told you before, Floyd won't make the fight happen anytime soon. Devin Haney even said it. And I was surprised when Devin Haney said it because I was like, why did Devin Haney say that? You know, when he became a champion at 20 years old, the youngest champion in the world, he came out and said, you know, Gervonta ain't going to fight me because Floyd is not going to let it happen. See, he didn't say because Gervonta won't fight me because he knows Gervonta, he a street cat. He got the Iron Mike Tyson in him. He don't give a F. He'll do anything. He fight anybody. He fought Devin Haney before. They sparred on more than one occasion for free. But he knows that Floyd ain't going to make the fight happen because Floyd knows about these two guys. He knows their potential. So that's why Devin said that. And I was surprised he said it. And then when Floyd made the statement of Devin ain't going to fight Gervonta, that's when I knew why Devin Haney made that comments. So I won't call Devin Haney clout baby because he wanted to smoke. Just like he wanted to smoke with T.O., just like he wanted to smoke with Lomachenko, and Lomachenko had to request a French fries belt, you know. But I think Gervonta will fight him. I don't know if they are going to fight, though, because if they put it this way, if they both had the same frame where Gervonta was going to move up to 140, 147, then I could guarantee you they were going to clash. But because they don't have the same frame where Devin Haney is about to grow out of 135, and he have the frame to go to 160, and Gervonta doesn't have the frame to even campaign at 140 because he's just too short. I just don't see that fight happening, if I'm being honest with you. With that being said, we're short on time, so great talking with y'all. I hope AB is A-okay. You know, AB had an issue or two with politics, and he over there, you know, serving time for a day or two. So hopefully, you know, he comes out. You know, AB, I got love for AB because he the can man. So I had to take that title from him. I didn't borrow it. I told him, man, you retired, AB?
Mexicans.
Now I gotta get that title from you, bro. Because I'm the can man. I wish the decaf would call in. Y'all can make a wish. Gather the Dragon Balls. And the password is the number that is shown right here. That's how you could get the dragon to show up. You know what I'm saying? And once you gather the Dragon Balls, wish to have the cojones to call in order to face AKHi. Because one thing for sure, either way, you ain't going to put an L on my record. Because Allah only made a couple things perfect. Floyd Mayweather undefeated record and AKHi. Period. On split decision and boxing. So with that being stated, subscribe below. If you're trying to get smart about a minute, if you're trying to get dumb about a second, don't. And listen to these decaps. The dumb casual ass fans that don't know crap about boxing. I get dumb about a second debating with these cats. Because if I had a lower IQ, I could have enjoyed these decaps debates. But I got a higher IQ. So with that being stated, call in, go to cojones, quit eating that wild boar, that contaminated meat that's not allowing y'all decaf cojones to grow, and call in like I tell y'all every single time, man. Y'all won't be saved by the bell. It's going to be a KO. Quit treating me like the Iron Mike of debating, man. So with that being said, yeah, the camera went off, man, because they know I'm too real for it. Appreciate every single one of my AKHis. Everybody in the chat, man. Go ahead and take you guys out.
gentlemen,